Short and sweet video for you guys today, checking out the first round of Savage Gauntlet. Seems like they're going to do the same event that's going to take place over a 4-day period, and then they'll reset to a new map later on. So once you do it once, you're going to kind of sit it out. But I like the fact that it rotates, because I feel it may warrant you to come back again instead of just kind of blowing through whatever the content is. It does seem to be based on a certain area of town. And in the few times that I played this particular playthrough of Downtown with various characters, I experienced the same types of enemies. So I think you're going to have that as well. Now, what is Savage Gauntlet anyway? Well, once you beat Exoprimal, which you probably should, because it's an amazing, amazing game. I did a review of it a few days ago. I'll post a link to that in the description below. But once you beat Exoprimal, you're kind of done, right? Like, there's not a whole lot left to do. You could just kind of go through and continue to level up the other exosuits that are available to you, or you could take the best exosuit you have or the character you're best with and really challenge yourself. And that's what this is. And this was a challenge. Unlike other modes, you are just going to be playing 5 players. You're not going to be doing any PvP stuff at the end. The entire experience is timed, and depending on how fast you clear stuff, you'll get a score that's kind of a leaderboard type thing. I haven't seen any specific rewards on the leaderboard other than bragging rights. Maybe that's something that they'll patch in later. But it's just the experience to go through it and try. You have 10 minutes to go through the Savage Gauntlet. If at any time your entire team dies and it's a complete wipe, they will reset the current area you're in and force you to play through it again. But the timer continues. So the first couple runs I had where I wasn't really entirely sure the best way to play, we ran out of time. This was actually a full run. We do actually complete this run. So having other players who are high level and understand their build is going to be massive in completing these challenges, because they are very, very difficult. Also, the thing I noticed seemed to have more success when we didn't really kind of play the more traditional build where you kind of have like 1 tank, 1 healer, and then a bunch of damage. We actually did the best when we had multiple tanks and multiple healers, actually, with kind of 1 person doing damage, which was kind of an interesting meta. You think of like what Overwatch 2 tried to do in terms of what they felt party composition needed to be. But here, because there are so many enemies, I mean, look at the minimap. It is totally littered. These things do not stop coming from every single direction. You're probably going to want 2 tanks. You're probably going to want to have, and I honestly think a double roadblock would work, or like, I don't think it's necessary that you have to have diversity. I very rarely actually even did any attacking with this. I was just kind of trying to taunt enemies and set up shields and try to be kind of the middleman, and kind of just separate enemies with my shield. That was pretty much my goal. And then obviously taunting some of the larger dinosaurs at the end to force them to hit me, because you're going to be fighting multiple dinosaurs at once. Now, and that's not unique, but you'll see what I mean. It's not. This is definitely a lot harder. So when they said they ramped up the difficulty, they were not kidding. What made this fun to me was that it was truly a challenge. And I'm curious to see what other crazy situations we can be put in. If it really just, boils down to you're just going to be completely bombarded with enemies, and that's just what the difficulty is going to be, then okay. I'm okay with that, I guess. But, it's as with all the other modes, it starts off seemingly easy and then progressively gets harder and harder as time goes on. You can see here, though, as, fighting this Triceratops, I'm still trying to recover my shield, and we're already into a T-Rex, and the raptors have not stopped coming since this battle began. And then you got the, you know, just more and more different types of enemies. It's not like they just bombard you with one. They're throwing everything at you very, very quickly. That's why I feel like you kind of need more than one tank, because this can get overwhelming quickly. If we had another tank that was off to the side, in this case we did have another tank. I think he's dead at this moment, though. You know, you could kind of like, hey, I'm going to cycle out and kind of get some heals back and get my shields ready. Hey, could you kind of like take over for a minute? Later on, when you're fighting multiple T-Rexes simultaneously while trying to defend a VTOL, where they just basically run straight into the VTOL and want to destroy it instantly, absolutely having multiple tanks is pivotal, especially ones like this guy who can taunt a little bit, get them to come over to kind of focus fire on me a little bit. But as with most of the other monsters, you know, a lot of them have really nasty kills, like the T-Rex with basically the guaranteed death animation. That won't be the first time that that happens to me. But we're still burning stuff down quickly enough, I feel like. But you could see in the time, you know, we started at that 10-minute timer. We are progressing, but it does run out quickly, and I'll be curious to see, as this mode evolves, what comes next. And if the plan is always to kind of have one Savage Gauntlet mode that's rotating every 4 days, my concern would be that existing content does allow for that kind of ping, but the day-to-day engagement does seem a little limited. Obviously, if you bought into the Battle Pass, you know, you could log in and do your missions there to continue to grind at that. Or if you want to go through and level up the various individual characters, you would do that. But you definitely wouldn't do that here. This is definitely a place that's set for level 20 characters who are using all 3 upgrade slots that are level 5 upgrades that work very, very well to your particular playstyle. Because, you know, even with this guy kind of being built up with heavy-duty shield, little extra health, that sort of thing, I am getting thrown around wildly. And at times I was like, what is this other tank doing? And it's not to knock him or anybody else on the team. This is just very challenging content. When you're trying to protect that VTOL and all of the T-Rexes kind of just walk in around that corner, the way that they set the VTOL up, there's really not a lot of room for the enemies to kind of maneuver around, and they'll basically destroy it in seconds. So that's why having a taunt is so massive. But I thought we did a really good job. This was very challenging. It was short and sweet. I did go and complete it on a few of my other characters just to try it out, to get a little different experience. You know, how it felt to heal versus how it felt to be a tank and stuff. I think tank is still the most fun, right? I don't know. It's just cool, especially with that really crazy skin that I have. But the last thing I'll say as I wrap this up, I appreciate that Capcom's continuing to put new content in. You'll notice that unlike the 1.2 multiplier you get for, you know, throwing your fate into PvP or PvE, here it's a 1.5 multiplier. So even better way to level up, although oddly enough, at this point, you really don't need to level up the character you have, so I almost feel like that 1.5 would be better served in other places than here, because it feels kind of like a waste, unless you're just trying to grind to 100. But those are my thoughts. Love this game. Love this mode. Go check it out. Thank you guys so much for watching. Take care of yourselves, and until next time, I will see you guys on the other side.